Welcome back to the deep dive. So for months now, we have been running the math on your most lucrative client, your MLC.
We have. We've covered their ability to pay. That's ATP. Their eagerness to pay, ETP.
And my favorite, the elusive must be quality, or MBQ, that whole personality fit thing.
Right. But now we're here. We're at the final variable. And honestly, without this one, all that other beautiful analysis is just a strategy PDF sitting on your desktop.
It's a fantasy business, not a real one.
It absolutely is. This is the variable that turns that dream client into, a real conversation you can have this afternoon. We are tackling ETF. Easy to find.
Okay, ETF. Now, on paper, that sounds, tactical, almost too simple.
It sounds like something you just handle with a quick Google search, right? But I promise you, ETF might just be the most practically important element of the entire equation. ATP plus ETP plus MBQ plus ETF.
Okay, let's unpack this then.
Yeah.
So sources break ETF down into 3 distinct hurdles, which I found to be a really useful way to think about it.
It is. You've got find, you've got identify, and then you have access.
And this is where the modern world has kind of simplified 2 of them almost completely.
Oh, for sure. You can find anyone these days. Google takes care of that. And you can identify them so easily with AI filters, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, directories.
Right. You could Google VP of Sales Fortune 1000 and you'd get a whole list of names and titles. Problem solved, kind of.
Exactly. So find and identify are now almost trivial. Digital tools have solved those, which leaves access as the final hurdle.
But access, that feels like the entire business model, doesn't it? Why is it truly the heavyweight champion here?
Because it's a relationship problem. It's not a technical one. The first 3 variables, ATP, ETP, MBQ, they just confirm who you should be talking to.
But access dictates if you can talk to them.
That's it. If you can't get past the receptionist or the algorithm or their assistant's skepticism, then knowing they have a massive budget is, it's useless. Access is the golden ticket. It forces you to stop thinking about what you will and start focusing on who you need to know.
That distinction, relationship versus technical, that's so critical because when we talk about upgrading your client base, say moving from solopreneurs to VPs at a Fortune 500 company, your technical skill set doesn't help you there at all.
Which brings us right to this common and honestly painful cautionary tale we see in the sources, the corporate pivot struggle.
I found this story so fascinating because it's a failure built on what seems like pure logic. You have this person, an individual with an offer that worked perfectly for small business owners.
Right. And they think, I'll just pivot. I'll pitch this to the corporate world. Fortune 1000 VPs. The logic being, bigger budgets, more ability to pay.
Makes sense on paper.
But the seller was a former academic, an entrepreneur. Their natural habitat was networking with other small business owners. They knew that rhythm. They had, zero idea how to access or even talk to corporate decision makers. They didn't know the secret handshakes, the language, the cadence of that world.
So they knew the target had the ability to pay, the ATP, and probably the eagerness to pay, ETP, but they were missing the bridge entirely.
And the sources use this perfect analogy. It's like you're standing on one side of a deep canyon shouting, "Hey, I have a great solution for your sales team." And all you hear back is your own echo.
You're geographically close, thanks to the internet, but you're relationally miles away.
And that is the lesson. If you are upgrading your client base, if you're going from, say, $5,000 projects to $50,000 contracts, just knocking on the front door with a cold pitch and a new website is worse than useless.
It actually works against you.
It actively triggers the sales pitch alarm. You need a side entrance. You need a bridge.
Okay, so what does that look like? For the listener who's ready to map that on-ramp for a totally new MLC, what's the practical first step?
It means you have to move from a cold strategy to a warm one. Your job isn't to chase those Fortune 500 doors yourself. It's to become visible and valuable to the people who already have those doors open.
The people who are already trusted.
Exactly. Who are the gatekeepers, or maybe a better term, who are the bridge builders?
So you're listing out people who already have that warm access?
Yes. This could be former colleagues who moved into corporate roles, maybe industry associations where leaders gather, speakers bureaus, management consultants.
Executive coaches who already work one-on-one with the C-suite?
Perfect example. And crucially, we have to look at media. What niche publications, what super specific newsletters or podcasts do those executives actually listen to? That is a massive bridge because it's already built on trust.
We have a perfect success story for this, a client named Michael.
Yes. Michael was working with small local businesses, but he decided his MLC was the mid-size company. He wanted to get to CFOs and controllers.
So instead of cold calling, he mapped his access strategy.
Right. And what were the mechanics? He couldn't just create, general marketing content. It had to be hyper-specific and incredibly valuable to a CFO.
Like what specifically?
Things like detailed tax compliance checklists or templates for optimizing cash flow. And he didn't just post it on LinkedIn. He found the 2 most popular niche podcasts that were run by and for CFOs and controllers, and he got himself on as a guest expert.
So he wasn't just creating content. He was leveraging O.P.P, other people's platforms, to get into a target-rich media channel.
Exactly. He wasn't chasing them. He positioned himself right where they could find him when they needed him. He even joined a high-level mastermind for financial execs. Hard to get into, but once he was inside, he was instantly vetted. He was a peer.
That's the crack the code moment. The question is always, What's the warmest, most trusted path from where I am now to where my new MLC hangs out?
Which naturally leads us to my favorite strategic concept in all this material, target rich ecologies, or, the more evocative term, the room.
The room. I love this. It's such a simple, powerful question.
Right. Who has already done the hard, expensive work of collecting your ideal clients into one place? You don't need to build an audience from scratch if someone else has already done it for you.
And we have to stress, the room isn't just a physical place. It's not just a conference in Vegas. It can be a digital room, a private Slack channel, a niche subreddit, a paid mastermind.
And there are really three main ways to get into the room. Let's start with strategy one. Buying access. It sounds a little crass, maybe,
but it's so effective.
Incredibly effective. Look at the Henry DeVries example.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So Henry targeted agency owners, businesses with 5 to 200 employees, great ATP. Instead of mailing 5,000 cold letters, he found 3 specific associations for those agency owners, and he plunked down a big chunk of money to sponsor their annual conference.
He bought his way into the room.
He instantly bought his way in, but he wasn't just spending money on marketing. He was spending money on trust transfer. The association basically vetted him. They presented him as a peer, not a cold caller.
That transfer happens instantly when you're sponsored by a group they already respect.
Okay, so strategy 2 is the back door, leveraging existing trust. We had a client who wanted to target members of EO, the Entrepreneurs Organization.
Which requires, $1 million in revenue just to join, so she couldn't get in?
A hard stop. Her access problem was a locked gate. So what did she do? She focused her energy on finding just 2 or 3 EO members outside the group. She did some phenomenal high-quality test drive work for them, wowed them.
And they became her bridge.
They became her internal bridge. They invited her in as a valuable expert as a guest, or they just referred her enthusiastically to their peers inside. She couldn't join the club, but she got invited to the party.
And then there's strategy 3, for when your target isn't defined by a job title, but by a situation.
The psychographics. Right. So if you're a divorce coach, you can't just search LinkedIn for people thinking about divorce. That data doesn't exist. So how do you find them at their moment of highest ETP?
You find the other professionals, the ones who've already collected them.
Exactly. The room, in this case, becomes the divorce lawyers, the financial planners, the family therapists. Those people are already sitting across the table from your MLC, and they need reliable people to refer out to.
Okay, let's get tactical, because you, the listener, need to start mapping these clubs and these media outlets. This is where you have to think like a professional investigator.
Absolutely. You're mapping their social, professional, and media habits. Look at the physical rooms first. That's your professional trade groups, country clubs, Rotary Club, alumni associations, even niche places like a CrossFit gym if your MLC is a busy exec who does triathlons.
And the digital mapping is just as crucial, maybe even more so for scale. So you're looking for those niche Facebook or LinkedIn groups, Slack communities, Discord servers. But here's the key question. How do you know if a digital room is target rich or just target spammy?
Excellent question. A target rich digital room has 3 things: high activity from the right members, clear moderation, so no spam, and most importantly, they are paying for access.
With time or money.
With time or money. If the group is free and open to everyone, it's low value. If they charge $500 a month to join, that self-selects for high ETP and high MBQ.
Beyond the rooms, there's the media consumption. What podcasts, what authors, what industry publications does your MLC religiously consume? That's gold.
It's total gold because it tells you their worldview, the language they use for their problems, and it gives you a platform to reach them.
So here's the simple, actionable homework for you. Interview 5 to 10 of your current best fit clients, the ones who already check all the boxes.
And ask them 3 simple questions. What podcasts do you listen to? What newsletters do you subscribe to? And what are the 3 books you recommend most often?
And you look for patterns. If 6 out of 10 of them all mention the same podcast host or the same niche industry report,
boom. You have just found a target-rich media channel. Your next move is figuring out how to get yourself on that channel.
Which brings us perfectly back to reclaiming that acronym we mentioned earlier.
O.P.P.
O.P.P. I love it. And yes, we are reclaiming it. Not for what you think. We're using it for other people's platforms.
The principle is so simple. It is infinitely easier to walk onto someone else's stage, their podcast, their newsletter, their mastermind, which already has trust and an audience, than it is to build your own from scratch.
And O.P.P. works so well for solving the ETF problem because the platform instantly transfers the trust you need to satisfy that MBQ criteria. If the platform owner trusts you, their audience immediately sees you as vetted.
We had that fantastic example of the wellness entrepreneur. She wanted to reach other serious, established wellness entrepreneurs, high ATP.
So instead of trying to build her own thing,
she identified the top 3 certification programs those entrepreneurs use to get credentialed. And her approach was genius. She didn't pitch her services. She offered the program creators a free, high-value training session for their recent graduates.
On a topic that was related but not competing?
Exactly. Something like how to build your signature talk to attract corporate clients. Boom. Instant access to hundreds of qualified MLCs with the implicit endorsement of a program they already trusted and paid thousands for.
That's the power of O.P.P.
Now, let's talk about something that's incredibly hopeful, because you don't need a massive budget for this. You just need to activate the one-person theory.
It only takes one person to change your life. And that person is almost always already in your orbit.
Absolutely. The data shows that most of us, we leave like 95% of our most valuable network on the table. We only focus on our professional contacts, our clients, our colleagues.
We completely ignore the warmth and breadth of our real expanded network.
Your real network includes your high school friends, college friends, the parents at your kid's school, the people at your gym, your neighbors, random family connections. Any one of them could be one warm introduction away from your entire MLC base.
We had that beautiful case study of the client trying to get into the Silicon Valley software world. So frustrating.
So frustrating. So he goes back to his college alumni directory, finds an old friend, reaches out, and explains exactly who he's trying to help. That friend made 2 strategic introductions. That was it. That was the start of a multi-6-figure client base.
And the neighbor example is even better because it was so casual. The client was trying to break into healthcare administration, a famously tough nut to crack.
Right. And they just casually mentioned their work to a neighbor at a block party.
And it turns out
the neighbor's sister-in-law was a VP at a major hospital system in another state. That casual chat led to a warm introduction, not a cold email, and that resulted in a 6-figure contract within months.
the mechanism here is so simple, but we overlook it. You have to be ready, you have to be crystal clear on who you're looking for, and you have to make a very specific ask of those warm connections.
Don't be vague. Be surgical. I'm looking for introductions to VPs of marketing in the consumer packaged goods space who are struggling with internal data integration. That is a clear ask that someone can act on.
So when we wrap this all up, the entire MLC equation was the final exam. We've got some homework for you. We want you to grade your upcoming calendar.
That's right. Look at every single meeting, every call you have scheduled for the next 2 weeks, and assess them against all 4 criteria: APP, ETP, MBQ, and did they come from a reliable, strategic ETF source?
Let's define the grades. Grade A. Your WIC is full of meetings with people who meet all 4 criteria. And they came from a warm source like an O.P.P appearance or a referral from your one-person network.
Grade C. You have lots of meetings, but you have no idea if they can pay, if they're excited, or if they're even a good fit. You're just meeting to meet, chasing spammy leads.
And let's not forget grade B. That's the tricky one. You have meetings with people who seem promising. Maybe they have ATP, but they came from a cold source. You're spending all your time trying to convince them, not closing them.
So if you're living in that B or C zone, the call to action is to stop. Stop chasing those leads and redirect that energy toward building bridges and finding the room. Aim for the bullseye. Aim for grade A access.
And here is your official permission slip, because I know this can feel scary. It is okay to fire your old avatar. You built your business on one type of client. You are allowed to outgrow them and hire a new, most lucrative client.
You are the boss of your target market.
This all loops back so perfectly to the hope of that one person theory.
It really does. You have no idea who that one strategic relationship will be, that podcast host, the neighbor, the college friend. But your job is to be ready for them when they show up.
The key is to be findable and be remarkable. Do work that's worth talking about so that when someone in your network, whether it's the neighbor at the block party or the program director of a huge association, finally asks, hey, do you know anyone who's cracked it? Your name comes up and you are visible, clear, and ready to receive that relationship that will